welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, welcome. My name is Meg. This is Bachelorette Talks, and today we're discussing Men Tell All in like part of the finale. Hello, welcome back. So we are almost done with this run of The Bachelorette, and I can't believe the finale is like literally right here. We have less than 2 weeks until Paradise starts. So if you guys would be interested in me doing recaps of Paradise, let me know by giving this video a thumbs up or leave me a comment down below if you like recaps on that show as well. I've never done it before just because there's always so much going on in Paradise. I don't know like if it would be too complicated to try to recap, but I'm willing to give it a try. So if it's something you guys want to see, please let me know. And also, if you are not familiar with me, this is also a makeup channel. So if you're interested in this makeup look, it will be going up soon, probably within the next 2 weeks or so. Be sure you're subscribed, have the notifications turned on so you're not missing out on anything. And this episode, man, I cannot. I'm sure you all feel the same way I do at home, that we are so sick of Luke, and the Luke show is finally over, but it is absolutely atrocious that it is the second to last episode and we finally got rid of him. Yeah, I tried giving him the benefit of the doubt in the beginning, like I do everyone, and he just has proved that he's not that great of a person. He is just so like self-absorbed. And the way that he acted on Men Tell All, which is like at least 2 months probably after filming, he hasn't really changed. So he can apologize all he wants, and it's basically like all the guys said, like, we will accept your apology once we see you change and grow. You're saying that you're changing, you're saying that you're growing, but your action and your words say otherwise, and that is 100% true. So and I also agree with what Mike said, that he's 24 years old. I was so different at 24, so we can only hope that there's room for improvement. And like this, I mean, he almost sounds like brainwashed or like cult leader-ish, right, with how he talks and the things that he believes, and like there's no telling him otherwise. And it just seems like he went from one extreme to the other. So I really hope in the next couple of years he can just have a lot of self-reflection and growth and change for the best. That's all we can really hope for, but let's get into the actual episode. The first thing that I put down in my notes that I really couldn't believe is that, you know, we got to watch 1 hour of the episode with a live studio audience. So when they were announcing names and people were popping up on the screen, I cannot believe that people were cheering and clapping for Jed. Like, yikes. I'm shook. I mean, do people not care that he ghosted a long-term girlfriend before coming on the show? Do people not care that he openly admitted to being on the show for fame purposes and to put himself out there? Do people not care about that? Like, I don't get it. If you're somebody that likes Jed, please in the comments let me know why you feel that way. I just feel like if you've been watching this series with me, you know I feel like he is just full of crap. I feel like he really doesn't have feelings for Hannah. He is just dead in his eyes when he's around her. He doesn't really light up when he's around her. I feel like he's still not in it to win it, okay? That's my feelings on Jed, so not a fan of that. What is concerning to me is that Hannah says, off-camera interview, she says that there is a man that isn't gonna see what's coming. Like, she's going to send somebody home that is really not going to expect it. But honestly, I feel like at this point, all three of them would literally be shook to their core if they weren't picked, because we saw last week, Jed was like so concerned about being #1 and making it to the end, and like, I need to be the front runner, blah, blah, blah. So like his pride would get hurt and he would be shook if he didn't get it because of prideful reasons, not because he actually likes her. And then, of course, Tyler and Peter are so super invested. They are the two best guys on the show, besides Mike. I know we all love Mike too. Those are like the top 3 best guys on the show this season. And I would be surprised if either one of them went home, and they would probably be pretty shook to their core if they got sent home. So I'm like, trying to hope that it's Jed that gets sent home, but I have a feeling it's gonna be Tyler or Peter. And I'm not ready for it because neither of them deserve it. I feel like those are two the better fit for her. I feel like right now with what we've seen, Peter is like the best fit for her, which concerns me because they edited it that way for us to like Peter the most and think that like he's the top, you know, front runner. So is he the one that's gonna have like the rug yanked from under him? Like, I don't know, I can't handle it, I am stressing out. I also saw on Twitter finally rumors of who the top two are, and I saw a rumor of who the winner is, and then I saw another rumor of who the winner is, and I guess I'm surprised I made it this long without seeing any kind of like spoiler type things, but I'm still gonna keep this spoiler free for you guys, so also keep it spoiler free in the comments if you know who the winner is. Just keep it to yourself until next week, please. Of course, Luke can't be done because his ego would be too bruised if he just went away quietly. He has to go out with a bang. He does not respect women at all. He just cares about himself. He's very prideful. He's very egotistical in the fact that it is all about him and he doesn't care. He tried to use a lot of things against Hannah, like her choices when it comes to men, her choices when it comes to her sex life, her reaching out to Colton for closure after last season. He threw that in her face, and it's like, how can you sit there and say the things that you say and expect it to go over well? Like, he was even doing this with his interview with Chris afterwards. He was just tripping himself up, and Chris would call him out, and he's like, but that's not what I meant by it. And it's just like, you need to realize like what you're saying and be conscious of the words that are coming out of your mouth and how it could come across. Like, he doesn't think of it. Anyways, I just thought it was really shitty that he was trying to take her proposal away from him. Like, obviously, she said no. She said no several times when he showed up. She told him to go away. She told him to leave. So to sit there and still try to force yourself on somebody and to sit there and try to take away a proposal that's supposed to be like a once in a lifetime kind of moment, to take that away from somebody and to take that power away from them is just like really, really, really messed up. I'm really grateful he didn't get down on one knee and try to. I thought for a minute he was definitely going to. The guys definitely had her back. I thought Jed was kind of annoying during it all. I thought Peter was the most respectful. Tyler kind of spoke up for her more and had her back more, where Jed's just like, you suck, go away. I don't know, that was just my feelings. I'm never gonna see Jed in a positive light, so that is what it is. Luke just lives in a world that is like seriously full of delusion, and it's just like, that's all that we're able to see of him, is like how delusional he is. So that's all that happened. Bravo to Hannah for trying to do the best that she could. I love the moment. I think we all love the moment where she picked up the little stand and moved it away from him. It was like, get the hell out of here. Yeah, you knew things were getting intense when Chris Harrison kind of stepped forward to be like, yo, you gotta go, if that moment needed to happen. So yeah, I was really pissed off that we didn't get to see who was going home. I'm annoyed that they just left it at that cliffhanger and that we have to wait until next week to find out. But now we move into Men Tells All, which is the Luke show. Luke tells all. All right, so when Luke sits down with Chris, he admits to being prideful. He admits to being arrogant, but he says that being called a narcissist or displaying narcissistic traits is too far. So what I'm going to do is look up in the DSM about narcissism and let's see what we learn. I've talked in past videos, I don't really like when people throw around diagnosis when they don't really know what they're talking about. There were contestants that Connor called him a psychopath. I don't think it's okay to call somebody a psychopath, to call somebody a sociopath, to necessarily call someone a narcissist if you don't know what you're talking about, if you don't know the criteria for that. I think that it's a little bit irresponsible. That's just me speaking from somebody that comes from a psychology background. And in case you're not familiar, the DSM is basically a book that has criteria in it that is used for mental health diagnosis. So that is where I'm getting this information of. So if you're not familiar, having it's technically narcissistic personality disorder. It's a personality disorder, and basically it's a condition in which people have an inflated sense of their own self, of their own importance, a deep need for excessive attention. They need to make every situation about themselves, turn everything into about them. They're always playing the victim, always trying to be the center of attention. which thus far has sounded very close to the definition of a similar personality disorder, which is a histrionic. That is somebody, in layman's terms, that is always surrounded in drama, always in turmoil. Every situation is bad for them. Super, super highly dramatic. They can't really find the positive in anything. They just want attention for being dramatic and poor you all the time. That's what they want from people. So it's kind of similar to that in that sense. Basically, the difference between a narcissist and a histrionic is that a histrionic is always like performing for attention, to gain attention. They experience fleeting mood, opinions, beliefs, like one way they're saying this, and then if it doesn't affect them or benefit, they may change their opinion to a way that will get them attention. So, quick little psychology lesson with that. But also back to narcissists, it says that they may exhibit troubled relationships, express a lack of empathy towards others, and behind the mask of extreme confidence lies a very fragile self-esteem that's extremely vulnerable to the very slightest criticism. So it's kind of hard to sit there and be like, yes, that does fit Luke, because we're only seeing edited parts of him. We're only seeing clips of him, but from what we've seen, that does sound like him. So let's go ahead and go over the different symptoms really fast, or the different criteria that you need, that you may have, that can lead to a diagnosis with narcissistic personality disorder. So somebody being diagnosed needs to have at least 5 of the 9 different criteria. And I just want to say really fast that you may hear some of these and think I exhibit that, or there may be a couple that you feel like you exhibit. Everybody has little flavors of everything when it comes to mental health, when it comes to different disorders. I know it sounds like a scary word, but some people may have some things of anxiety, they may have some things of depression, they may have some things of like borderline personality disorder. It doesn't mean that you're diagnosed with that. If you feel that you may have a lot of the criteria that meets a disorder, please talk to a mental health professional so you can get yourself properly evaluated. This is just information. I'm not trying to diagnose anyone. I'm not a medical professional. Don't take what I'm saying to heart, my disclaimer. So the 9 criteria to be diagnosed that professionals use to look at a possible narcissistic personality disorder is a grandiose sense of self-importance, a preoccupation with fantasies on unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love, a belief that they are special and unique and can only be understood by or should be associated with other special or high status people or institutions. A need for excessive admiration, a sense of entitlement, interpersonally exploitive behavior, a lack of empathy, envy of others, or a belief that others are envious of them, a demonstration of arrogance and haughty behaviors or attitudes. Like I said, it looks like Luke has some flavors of the criteria. Whether that's enough to get him a full-blown diagnosis, I'm not going to say, because it's not my place to say, but I feel like he is extremely prideful. He is extremely arrogant. To sit there and say that he's a full-blown narcissist is a little bit iffy. That's just my take on it. That is my assessment on it, not that anybody cares about my opinions. So basically, back to the interview with Chris, he says that he has learned, he is growing, and you can also tell that he's trying really hard to like not lose his shit. It was like almost scary, like how calm he was remaining. And it was just very odd. I mean, like, good for him for like not blowing up, but also just the way he was sitting there and just like had his eyes closed, like he wasn't even present. It was so weird. I guess that's some kind of level of zen I'm not used to seeing. The thing that I think pissed me off and a lot of people off is when he said a man is supposed to lead and guide a woman, but he wants an independent woman. That didn't really make sense to me. And then I saw that he started a Twitter account just to defend himself, and he said that it says in the Bible that a man is supposed to spiritually guide a woman, and it's just like, there's no saving yourself at this point. Like, you have dug yourself so deep, like there's no coming out of it. The best thing for him to do is to just like disappear for like a long time before he like tries to resurface and make himself public again, if he even tries to. Mike just spoke the truth and laid it down on him on what he is and how he treats women and how it's not okay. Garrett was actually correct. I mean, he made a good point, and I'm glad he didn't carry on like how he did in the house, but he made a good point and said that your apologies are meaningless because we're not seeing any change in you. And that's 100% correct. I agree with that. Then we got to the confusing part where Chris asked, like, you had a really rough past and you were born again, or whatever, you know, you choose to call it. And you are shaming a woman for behaving ways in the past that you behaved. Why is that? He said that that didn't make him a hypocrite, but he couldn't explain why that didn't make him a hypocrite, and he couldn't explain why it was different and why it was okay for him to slut shame her. What really frustrated me the most about this episode is that it was literally the Luke show until the last 20 minutes. Then we had a 3-minute segment of Mike getting closure from Hannah, which was like so sweet. I swear to God, if he's not the next Bachelor. Yeah, he got his closure, and then the last 10 minutes of the show was like all bloopers. And the best part was Alaska singing. I wish that was like the whole thing. But that summed it up for the episode. This is a longer video because we went on a little bit of a rant, a little bit of a mental health journey. So I hope you guys found this helpful. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video. Let me know your thoughts down below, and let's play a little game. Let's say that unfortunately Peter and Tyler aren't picked at the end. So I think it's a good consensus to say that Peter, Tyler, and Mike are crowd favorites. If you had to pick one of the 3 to be the next Bachelor, who would it be and why? Let me know in the comments. Again, let me know if you want me to report on BIP. And I will be back next week for the finale. I think it's like 2 nights or something like that. So the video may go up later in the week instead of a Wednesday because it's going to be a lot of information to process. Chris hinted that there's a lot of rumors. They're going to be answered. So I'm sure Jed's going to be in the hot seat about his girlfriend, and I'm sure he's going to deflect. And I don't know, maybe he'll come clean and actually admit to ghosting a girlfriend, but I'm sure it'll be some kind of sob story where it's not his fault. So what are your thoughts on everything? Let me know. Be sure to check out my other videos here. I also have the playlist linked here if you'd like to see my other Bachelor Talk episodes. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.